Hello and welcome back to Kim Reads as we continue with Happy Birthday Samantha. Chapter 5 Changes. The fire engine roared off around the corner. The dust settled. Samantha stood on the curb, gathering her courage to go out in the street and look for Jip. Agnes and Agatha ran up to her. "Where is he?" Agnes said breathlessly. "Where is Jip? Do you see him?" Samantha shook her head no. "I think he might be." "There he is!" shouted Agatha, hopping up and down. "Look, he's going to that park across the street." "I see him," shouted Samantha. She was so relieved. Come now, we've got to catch him." The girls dashed across the street into the park. Jip trotted ahead of them as if he knew exactly where he was going and nothing would stop him. He darted through a crowd of women and were all head toward a platform draped with signs and flags. "Oh no!" Agnes gulped. "This is Madison Square Park. This is where the suffrage meeting is." "Quick, let's get out of here," said Agatha in a panic. "No," said Samantha. "We've got to get Jip. Grandmary won't mind if we're in the park for just a minute to get the dog." "It's not Grandmary we're worried about," interrupted Agnes. "It's Cornelia. She's here. If she sees us, she'll be furious. Yep, she thinks we're back at Grand Mercy Park." "Cornelia?" Samantha gasped. "What's she doing here?" "She's at the meeting about women voting," Agatha said quickly. "We heard her tell Guard she was coming. He said Grandmary wouldn't like it, but Cornelia said she would think for herself and she was coming anyway." Samantha was very confused. What was Cornelia doing with the suffragists? Grandmary said these women were making spectacles of themselves. Was Cornelia doing something wrong? But Samantha didn't have time to think. Agnes grabbed her arm. "Come on," she ordered. "Let's get Jip and go." The girls chased Jip to a small pool with a fountain in the middle. He eyed the girls. As they came closer, he edged away. "Give him some room," said Samantha. "We don't want him to." Splash! Jip jumped in the pool. "I'll dive in and get him," Agatha cried. She pulled off her shoe. "Wait," said Samantha quickly. She grabbed Agatha's shoe, waved it in front of Jip just as she had Mount Bedford. "Look, Jip," she said in a friendly voice. "A shoe. Come get it." Jip looked at the shoe. He began to paddle across the pond towards Samantha. Just then, the crowd got very quiet. "Ladies and gentlemen," a woman's voice began. Jip stopped. He tilted his head and perked up his ears. When the speaker said, "Welcome," Jip yelped with joy. He sprang out of the pool, splatting all over the girls. Before they could grab him, he scampered across the steps of the speaker's platform, yipping and yapping wildly. He ran right over to the woman who was standing in front of everyone. "Cornelia?" gasped all the girls. The speaker was Cornelia. Jip wiggled from his tail, sending a spray of water all over her. "Jip, what are you doing here?" Cornelia asked. Jip barked excitedly, and she scooped him up in her arms. "Whoa," she said, turning to the crowd. "This eager fellow wants to speak, too." The crowd clapped and laughed. Cornelia's voice was strong and firm as she went on. "The time has come for all of us to speak out. We must stand for what we believe is right," she said. "We must make up our own minds. The time has come to change the old ways. Women must vote." The crowd clapped louder than ever. Some women even had banners and cheered. Cornelia carried Jip back to her seat, and another woman rose to speak. As Cornelia sat down, she looked all around, searching for faces in the crowd. "Jeepers, she's looking for us," whispered Agnes. "Well, she's got Jip, so let's get out of here," said Agatha. "No," said Samantha. "We can't do that. We have to face her and admit what we did." The twins looked at each other uncomfortably. "Maybe you're right," said Agatha. The girls waited nervously while the suffragists spoke. When all the speakers were over and the crowd had begun to wander away, Cornelia came down from the platform. She walked toward the girls. "Well," she said without a trace of her usual smile, "what are you and Jip doing here?" The girls looked down at their shoes. "We did a very stupid thing," Samantha began. "It was a very terrible idea," admitted Agnes. "We put Jip in the pram," said Agatha, "and we didn't hold on to the leash, so he ran away." Agatha burst out. "But we didn't think that he'd—" "You certainly didn't think," Cornelia cut in. "You just went right ahead with your own ideas and didn't pay attention to what I said about keeping Jip on the leash. That was an important rule, and we all agreed on it. When will you girls learn that you can't just change things when you feel like it. But aren't you trying to change things? Asked Agatha. Are you trying to get women to vote? That's very different, Agatha, answered Cornelia. All the women here today have thought long and hard about changing the laws so that women can vote. When you want to change something, you better be sure it's a wise change, a change for the better. The girls were silent. Finally, Samantha said, "We're sorry, Aunt Cornelia. We really are." Cornelia shook her head. "I believe you are sorry. You certainly look sorry. In fact, you look like a sorry mess." Her voice had a little laugh in it. She looked at her watch. "Oh my gracious, it's nearly 3:30. We'll be late meeting Grandmary if we don't leave right now. There's no time to go home and change. We'll have to go to Tyson's, as untidy as we are." The girls were rumpled and wrinkled, and Grandmary's and Cornelia's dress was covered with muddy paw prints, so it was a very bedraggled parade that Jip led to the parlor. When they got to Tyson's, Samantha saw Grandmary sitting at a corner table near the gleaming soda fountain. Her face was rather red, and Samantha was afraid she might be angry. Samantha rushed ahead of Cornelia and the twins. "Grandmary," she blurted out, "we're sorry to be so late. I'm sorry we've had a most awful time. Agnes and Agatha and I nearly lost Jip. We chased him everywhere, and he ran into Madison Square Park. Remember the place where the cab stopped this morning? Jip jumped in the fountain there, and just when we all caught him, we got away again. But it was all right because he ran up to the speaker's platform, and he ran right up to..." Samantha stopped. "Oh no," she said. She didn't want to tell Grandmary about Cornelia. But Cornelia finished for Samantha. "Jip ran right up to me," she said, looking Grandmary straight in the eye. "I was on the speaker's platform." "I know you were on the platform," said Grandmary. "I saw you. I was at the meeting myself." "You were?" everyone gasped. "Yes," said Grandmary firmly. "I was on my way to Tyson's, but there were so many people around the park that I couldn't get by. When I saw you upon the platform, Cornelia, I thought perhaps ought to stay and listen." Grandmary took Cornelia's hand. "My dear," she said, "I must admit that what I saw and what I heard gave me a bit of a surprise. I've always said that I was too old to change my ways, but I've changed my mind today." Grandmary touched her forehead with her handkerchief. Samantha saw that the hat was tipped back a little, as if she turned around very suddenly. "You and the other ladies who spoke today were simply saying the women should stand up for what they think is right. And that's exactly what I think too. And if that's what voting will give us a chance to do, I think women should vote. The time for change has come." Cornelia smiled at Grandmary. "Yes, it is time to change the old rules. And that's what makes this a wonderful time for these young ladies to be growing up." "Well, growing up isn't what we come to celebrate, isn't it?" asked Grandmary. "Shall we have our ice cream?" She turned to Samantha. "Peppermint for you, my dear, or would you like to try something new today?" "No, thank you," smiled Samantha. "Peppermint is my old favorite. There are some things that are just too good to change." And that is the end of Happy Birthday, Samantha. Thanks for listening.